And a lot of you probably know me as Pink, so hi. And I have with me your treasured genius, David Sears, tonight. So he's going to have a lot of things to talk to you about. Hi, David. How are you?
Hi, I'm well and ever so slightly intoxicated. So you you will probably hear things that you normally wouldn't hear from me.
This is fantastic. That's not a bad thing. A little bit later in the show, we're going to take live questions from the chat. So you heard him. Hit him up with anything. Maybe he'll answer. Can't hurt. So essentially what we're doing, this is our first live show as a studio, right? Since the Kickstarter got taken off and you guys moved into your new offices and things have been crazy, giving the community as much information as we can and as we get it and as we sort of group together and become a team here. So I kind of wanted to touch base on all the way back. So I want to kind of drag you all back 10, 11 years ago to when David created Socom. And we're sort of going to speak to how this all happened, how we got here today, where we're at, and where we're headed, to kind of catch everybody up to speed. And we're also going to go over some terms and some terminology and things I've seen in the forums that are a little confusing. I completely understand that they're confusing. Sometimes I read them and I'm like, I don't get it. So I go back and we find the answers for you. So we're going to take David all the way back to SOCOM 1. And this is actually a question that I have for you, something that I love to ask developers, and I'm always getting a different answer, and it's my favorite question. I want to know what you feel when you release a title. It's the first day of launch. It's out there. What do you do? What do you go through? If it was me, I'd be bald. And we're just running around the streets. They'd lock me out. How do you feel? What do you go through?
Well, it sort of happens. There are two phases, right? There's Gold Master Day, where you're not allowed to, you sort of cross this grim meridian when you're not allowed to actually fix all of the things that you know are going to embarrass you forever, right? So you live with that for a while, and then you think when the game is actually released, I think, oh my God, what have I done? No one kicked this back, and it's going out there. And especially in the early days when you couldn't just instantly, sort of continually patch everything to make it all better, it was like, oh my God, I have once again destroyed my career. So that's what I think every time I ship something.
So it's stressful, high stress.
Yeah, it's worse after you're finished. It really is. I mean, you think, wow, it's it's a lot of pressure to get these things done. They're very complicated. But once you're done, it's much worse because you live with all the regret and fear and trepidation, and so that's what I think. It gets worse for me after we're done.
That's interesting. When did it hit you that you had a huge hit on your hands, or did it not? Is it still sinking in today?
Yeah. I'm on a 10-year time delay with that particular emotion. No, I couldn't believe when I went to a magazine store in Seattle, and I think 4 or 5 magazines were running SOCOM on the cover, all getting 10s and 9 point something, and I'm like, what is wrong with these people? Really?
Didn't they see that bug?
Yeah, I've just shipped the brownest game ever on PlayStation 2, and I was so sick of it. I mean, it was still fun, but I was like, my gosh, I can't write another Bugzilla bug. I just can't do this, and it just wasn't finished. I mean, that's something I couldn't talk about at the time. Sorry, I got to put my dog down. But I didn't feel like that.
The doggy first. The community wants to see the doggy.
She's going to see Tom actually, so she'll be back.
Brave dog.
Yeah. So our office mascot. She actually does spend the whole day here with us, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, I thought, my gosh, what, this thing's buggy, it's unfinished, it's brown. I was just like, I've literally destroyed my career, and everyone is totally deluded because they think it's good. I didn't think it was good. I was like, oh my, I don't think I'm going to be lynched. See back there.
Oh, don't turn around, David. Don't turn around.
Good.
So I understand that, and it's interesting too because it's common, right? I mean, even Rockstar just launched their game; they had billions of dollars there, and it's just those things are going to happen. There are things you can't foresee that you want to fix, and you have to tweak, and you have to turn around and patch. So you're receiving all this acclaim, and then you head out and you do it again. You're like, all right, sure, let's do another one. And the Socom series starts. Then what are you going through? Are you like, I can do better? I got this?
Yeah, for sure. The second SOCOM was initially going to just be an expansion pack. And, I mean, in those days, I think Sony kind of felt like me, or maybe I was projecting, the way I felt. And they're like, well, let's just see how this SOCOM thing does. It might be good. Maybe it's okay. Then it did really well, and suddenly the expansion pack became get a sequel done, but you have only expansion pack production time. So we basically made SOCOM 2 in about 9 months, and then we were in test. And I was like, and once again, I was like, oh my God, what have I done? This is not finished. This is not finished. I mean, there was like a ridiculously long design document on AI, for example, and all these mechanics and things we wanted to do. And we were just done. So I was super, super stressed. By the end of SOCOM 2, though, I hadn't really had a social life in about 4 years because all we did was work on SOCOM, holidays, weekends, the usual. Which is good. I was young then, and I thought that was like, totally rock and roll. But now I'm just like, wow, you could have dated a lot of people. You could have gone to Thailand or something, So, by that point I was thinking, wow, I felt like we had rushed out a game, and it's just a testament to the quality of people that we were working with at Zipper, and all our guys at Sony, all our support guys, all of them, producers on down, who made it possible. And they kept, they kept doing the things I asked them to do. So, I was just really worried that I'd asked them to do the wrong things. And, when I went to the magazine store, I wasn't going to see 4 covers, saying, oh, SOCOM 2 is awesome. There was going to be a picture of my face as, sort of a wanted poster with a bounty listed. But it didn't work out that way.
It happens like that sometimes.
Yeah.
And you had 2 successful titles. I'm going to skip over the rest of that story, and it's sort of in the interest of time, but I think our community is well aware of what happened from that point forward. And we're going to bring you all the way back up to today. Mm-hmm. Weird? Was it weird? Someone's like, hey, 10 years later, hey, David, hey, buddy, you want to do it again?
Huh. Well, yeah, it was particularly, it was very weird.
Right?
And, I got this call. I was, I was outside smoking, which is bad. Kids, don't do it. But I was really stressed with my current project at UB, and I got this call from the guys at Soft Studios, and they're like, wow, we want you to make another, the heir apparent to SOCOM. And I was like, wow, I mean, people are still,
Prank
remember
call?
that? Yeah. I'm
Did
like,
you hang up?
Yeah, and I'm like, and who the hell are you? Anyway, and it was really especially funny because I had just been told, by a producer that, nobody remembers SOCOM anymore, and I should not even talk about it. And then I get this call saying, hey, come make, the spiritual successor to this, this game you did 10 years ago. And I was like, okay, I am definitely being punked. This is just too weird. But it was real. It's totally legit. And, I thought about it long and hard before I said yes. But, No, it seemed like the right thing to do.
I wholeheartedly agree. Were you aware after so much time that you had such a major support in a community that really believed in what you did?
No, because I tend to stay really oblivious to all that stuff. I mean, it's awesome. I love the
Right.
fact that it's going on, and I have sort of this empirical proof now that people are really passionate about this kind of game, and I love that. But every day, I'm worried about stuff like, making this game or
Right.
making whatever game I'm working on. Um, and I tend to lead a very quiet life. My home life is boring. It's totally boring, out of necessity. And so the last thing I do when I go home is look at social media to see if, I mean, I don't Google myself.
There's a lot of people that sit in your shoes that will tell you the same thing, which is do not read those comments because they can get to you. They get to me. I mean,
Yeah.
are you people trolling me yet in chat? I'd be disappointed if you weren't. So go ahead, knock yourself
And,
out.
and that's all good. I mean, most of the kind of comments I think you're talking about come from,
From
you know,
passion, really.
passion
Yeah.
and, sort of a fear that someone's going to screw up something that people hold very dear. And it's because, you can't always reveal everything that would, educate people about all their questions or concerns. And even if you did reveal every single development in your studio, people would miss a lot of it. I mean, we've talked about, from going from the Kickstarter campaign to now, we've talked about just about everything. But I still get, messages from people saying, or I see posts about stuff. It's like, well, this is going to be terrible because of this and that and the other thing. And I was like, no, I wrote 4 pages about this,
Right.
and there's a Reddit thing, and, I've tweeted about this or whatever, although I should tweet more. No, I mean, it's totally understandable, and you just have to take it in stride. But yeah, to get back to your question, I'm amazed that people are still so passionate about this kind of game.
It
So
seems like a genre that's kind of gone by the wayside. And I wholeheartedly agree with all the rest of the community. Bring it back. Bring it
yeah,
back. There's room for it here. And it's a fantastic gameplay. So, and it's kind of gone. It's gone away. And they're shutting down the Socom servers, etc. So it's going to be no longer anyway. Let's get into the real nitty-gritty stuff.
hmm
Thanks for sharing all your stories, by the way.
sure.
I want to clarify a couple of things for our community. So I think this is the best place to do it. And like you said, when these questions keep coming up, we can just link them right to the VOD and be like, oh, we covered that over here. It's fun because that just means we're bringing in more and more registered members on the forums, and it's great to see. Last week, I think we had 100 new users hit. So that was
Wow.
wonderful. Yeah,
Awesome.
exactly. And they all need to be informed. So that's kind of why we're doing this one, and we're going to bring them right up. So,
And we never get tired of that.
ever.
It's like
I
it's just a
get
chance to meet
hungry.
new people.
I get hungry, but I don't get tired of it. I get
Yeah.
hungry, but I can eat and type at the same time,
Right on.
sometimes. So, had the most successful Kickstarter of its genre. If
We did?
Yes. See?
Holy crap!
I
that's
expect both of us to.
Yay!
Yay!
Awesome.
So for those watching, $252,000 was brought in, and it was to produce the demo. And that's the first thing we're going to touch base on is that word, the demo. Very confusing. I agree. I understand. Demo typically means, oh, yay, I'm going to head over to my console. I'm going to download it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to see if I want it and buy it.
Sure.
I'm going to let you all down now, every single one of you. The demo is actually a snippet, a small snippet. So I'm going to let David explain to you what the demo is going to be, because I don't want y'all to feel that that's what's happening here.
Sure. So I think everybody knows I'm pretty old school, and I still use old school technology. So I tend to call this a demo, because that's what it is. If you run it through, Babelfish to old school game development terms, it would be a demo. But really, it's a proof of concept, a build that's proof of concept. It's not quite a full vertical slice because the game is too big to do with the budget and the time we have. But it's proof of concept for a kind of game that, ironically, we already have a proof of concept for, SOCOM 1 and SOCOM 2. the irony is delicious because, we're proving that a new studio and a new team of people can make a game that is addictive, and recreates the same sort of experience or the same feeling that those early games did. So that's what we're doing. We're doing a proof of concept, but for me, it's really more, we're proving that this team has what it takes to do this together. I think we all know that this kind of gameplay is pretty awesome, and its purity, its addictiveness, its honesty. So we're bringing it back by doing a proof of concept.
Excellent. So hopefully that will clear up a lot of stuff, because I see some things on the forums. You guys kind of maybe feel a little bit left out, that we're making decisions without consulting you, and that is not happening. It's a little snippet, like you said, a proof of concept. That this is what the studio is creating right now. It is not your actual demo or your beta. So for those of you that aren't aware of that, the beta is coming down the road. So they're completely different things and different animals. And at this stage, yes, it's very difficult as a studio to share everything with you. And I understand waiting sucks. I get that. Believe me, I want to know stuff. David
Sucks
probably,
for us.
yeah, right?
Really
It doesn't just suck for you. It sucks for everybody. So we understand that, and we get it. And when we can give you things, believe me, you're going to get them. And we will do what we can to make that happen for you. But I don't want you all to think that that demo is the actual game that's being developed, when your input and your valued feedback is going to be taken into consideration. So don't want you to get that feeling. The only other thing I think I wanted to clarify for them with you, David, is aside from that, the beta. Once you have the proof of concept out there, that is not going to be your beta. So the beta is completely separate.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, what an incredibly convoluted, opaque Kickstarter campaign we created. It's like, thank you for funding the idea of a prototype / proof of concept to make a game that has a beta. That's what the beta is. It's for the full game. So for the demo, right? Air quotes.
Yeah.
For the proof of concept, we are going to be reaching out to some of our backers who have behind the scenes been expressing interest in, participating to get feedback on what we're preparing to show potential publishing partners and venture capitalists and investors. And we're getting really close, actually. The programmers who, one of them's right here behind me.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, we feel like we're about 2 weeks away from having enough of the mechanics and features and core control, and enough of the most onerous bugs all hammered out and implemented, so that we can have our first really meaningful play tests en masse, right? Like having more than just us play it in the office. So we're going to start bringing in people to actually test it, locally at first, but we're sending out builds to, key luminaries. Turban's going to be getting a playable version, for initial map feedback. So we're super, super close. Finally.
I didn't even know this. So
yeah, well,
we're
breaking
both
news.
learning stuff today.
Yeah.
See, we should do this more often.
Yeah,
With
I agree.
The community, see, I didn't know that, so now we all know, and that's pretty fantastic.
Well, yeah, everybody, I mean, I say 2 weeks. I say 2 weeks a lot. I know everybody's probably, it's like, you said 2 weeks about the animation videos. I'm like, yeah, I know. I also followed that up with, I'm not going to show, broken characters either. And those are coming along, but we are getting to really close to that convergence point where I can just release stuff just on a whim, as opposed to having to, do the typical developer thing, which is struggle to schedule, everybody's tasked to focus on getting a screenshot done.
Right.
But we don't do that. We don't paint over screenshots. We don't, try to engineer, something perfect. We're building a game, really. and we want to be able to show you that game from all angles at any point, which is why, not to jump ahead, but, we're going to be doing this candid screenshot thing where any of us in the office can take a screenshot of something broken or stupid or just comedy gold and just tweet that, because, that's just part of the process. And we are trying to be transparent. So hopefully people will appreciate that.
I think they do. I think it's an amazing community. I've had the pleasure of getting to know them over the past month, and great group of people.
For sure.
They're phenomenal. The alliance that they have, the passion that they have for Socom, it's beautiful. I mean, as a video gamer, I'm old. Shh. I'm like wicked old. Shh.
No, I'm not as old as me.
Stupid old. So, I had Pong in my house,
I did too.
Like the original Pong. Not what the kids can buy today. But this is my life. I love video games, and it's very interesting, and I wanted to share this with the community as well, which is sometimes when I'm working, kind of like I'm sure anyone that does in this industry, you get tunnel vision, and it's work, and I've got to get this done, and I've got to get that done, and so-and-so needs me. And I want to say thank you to the community and to this project, because I feel like it's renewed my absolute passion in video games, which is that excitement, and I want to smell the plastic on the cover of this thing, and I think I lost that somewhere until I came into this community, and they're all like, Socom! I'm like, yeah! So it's been fantastic, even for me, from where I sit. I'm like, I have this new energy now, and I'm like, video games. So I just want to say thank you to the community and to the studio itself for I lost it somewhere, and I've got it back, and I'm excited. So hop online and add me up, and we'll kill shit.
Okay, so I guess vulgarity is permitted in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
I think it's yeah.
Awesome.
We'll edit it or something. I don't know.
No, I think we just go for it.
All right, knock yourself out. I see him swearing in chat. I see you people.
Well, I have to say, I've always said that Socom fans and, dedicated Socom gamers were among the smartest of shooter players. And to see the comments, we very innocently posted an work in progress screen grab of
yes,
basically Serbian hut number 4, and I was like, yeah, everybody dig that, but that HUD, it needs this and this and this. And Patrick's already working on those adjustments. It's like it was in progress, but we completely agreed with all that feedback, and I was like, I could just grab all this stuff, and that's my punch list for this week. So well done.
See,
I'm totally
guys,
going to keep crowdsourcing the bug list, because it's really right in line with what we need. So thank you.
It is, and they do a great job, and hopefully that you guys understand that too, that once this demo has been completed, there's going to be so much more of that you're going to be involved in and participate in. So I want you all to understand that. And with that, let's take some questions. You heard him. He's drunk. He might answer some stuff. Let's go for it. Now, I might have to slow chat down so that I can read them, because, again, I'm old, and if y'all go crazy with the questions, I'm not going to be able to catch them. So, Chizzy, I know you're in there. Can you slow chat for me, please? Oh, here we go. Southpaw 665. David, how are you going to handle cheaters and glitchers? Are you guys going to ban them? See, guys going to ban them for real, or just let them cheat like other games? Southpaw's mad. Southpaw's mad, bro. He wants to know how you're going to handle these cheaters and glitchers.
Yeah. Well, we have resources that a lot of game studios don't have. We have really strong.
We have Connor Thomas. We're going to pretty much send in a UAV. We're going to pinpoint their location.
It's actually, that's been
not
discussed.
Too far off.
That's not really far-fetched. You'd be surprised what a in-person visit on a cold December morning will do to dissuade cheaters. No. Well, okay. So, first I will say we despise cheaters, and by saying that, we make ourselves a target for every griefer and cheater in the business, which is fine because we are totally going to be up for that challenge. Um, we're going to spend a pretty sizable amount of our budget on developing new techniques to combat cheating, and this is super, super sensitive stuff. This is like national security kind of stuff. So the more I talk about it, the easier I make it for cheaters to succeed, and then the more time and money we spend on trying to develop countermeasures. But there are some approaches. I was inspired by our early design discussions about player metrics, and it's often called machine learning, right? It's looking at the way players play, which, I very altruistically thought, oh, this is awesome because now we've got Tom and he can be the coach of the voice of the analytics sergeant, and he can tell you all, how your tactics are good or bad or completely absent. And we can look at the way people play, and we can help you become better players by giving you real-world military training strategies for surviving in a hostile world, and evoking the lamentation of your enemies. However, after we started talking about cheating and how rampant it became, even in Socom, for example, I realized that these same sorts of machine analysis algorithms that let us look at how well you play also let us identify superhuman behavior. Even very subtle cheating will stand out like, a flare against the background of people who are playing legitimately. We can't stop people from creating things like lag switches or, trying to run bots or whatever. But that's okay because we can automate the process of identifying them over short time slices. In a week or two, we'll have enough data to start identifying people who are exhibiting cheater-like behavior, even if it's very minimal. And then we can give them the first warning, and then we can ban them forever.
And then we can counteract them.
Yeah. Well, that's when we put their customized character that they have so painstakingly wrought or created in purgatory, and let everyone who doesn't cheat set them on fire.
That works. I'm down with that.
Yeah, it may be a very large rogues gallery of people who cheated, but I'm happy to create that much virtual space. It's just electrons, so so that's one major way we're doing it, plus all the traditional countermeasures. On PC, there are obviously off-the-shelf solutions that help somewhat. But I think the future of anti-cheating is, and griefing, is twofold. It's using machine learning to identify, or analytics, to identify people who are cheating. And it's to give you guys, the players, the ability to act as sort of, paladins in the field and report people who are, exhibiting not only cheater behavior, but unsportsmanlike behavior, because that's really, that ruins it for everybody. So we're going to give you those tools, and when people will be kind of like the NSA, we're going to watch, and then if you screw up, we're on you like a
See, and my son happens to be a UAV pilot, and his time on target is, you don't want to know. He'll come get you. He will come get you. This is an excellent question. David Dowell asked, his question is, David, how do you balance trying to recreate the feel of an old game while also not making it feel dated? Excellent question.
Well, first of all, it's a truism or a platitude, I guess, but, people always say everything old is new again. To everything there is a season, and I think we're back to that. But the beautiful thing, another platitude that I like to say, is, it looks like Call of Duty but plays like Socom. And I keep saying Socom was very pure and honest and immediate, and it was all about, player response. It wasn't the best looking game in the world, and it didn't have, we were limited by platform constraints and time. But, at its heart, it was about, giving you the most control over, your character and your firearms or your explosives as possible. Um, and that never goes out of style. Really? Do you, it's like, well, I don't care if the fad is to layer a lot of, excessive animation and, ambient effects on top of the gameplay. Um, at its heart, it has to be pure. But then what gets really interesting, because the Kickstarter promise was, yep, we're making the spiritual successor, which is essentially recreating the magic of the core gameplay of those Socom games, which is, a mixed bag of tricks. That's kind of enough to do for the first game unto itself, and just making it, visually more appealing is a big win. um, but that's just phase one. I mean, now that we have more powerful hardware and, we are developing, we don't have to develop our own engine. That leaves us more time to work on mechanics and features. And one of the examples I give
I'm not laughing at
is, yeah, I know.
Sorry.
One of the examples I give is now, I'm really into blood. And, it's like, if you look at the original Socom, you got this nice little pink mist. It was just like, and that was it. I wanted a lot more blood, but for various reasons we couldn't do it. Now I made the blood. Kevin's hooking up the blood. We can drench the environment in blood, which is way over the top, but it does give us, it does bring up, very fundamental design questions. In the original Socom, you could track opponents for a short distance by their footprints in snow, for example. Now you can track people if you wing them and they're not dead yet. You can track them by the blood drips through the environment. And what's really scary is I don't have to delete all the decals right away. I mean, the footsteps, that wasn't a design choice, that the footsteps faded out after, 8 seconds. That was because it was time for a bullet hole or, a blood splat somewhere or another decal to be placed in the environment. That's why that happened. So now we have these sort of design decisions to make, like how much blood do we allow you to track? It's that kind of stuff that comes up all the time, and you don't necessarily see it when you go into, sort of, I don't want to say recreating, but making a game inspired by Socom. Technology has come a long way, so we're going to be giving it all kinds of new flavor. For sure.
Awesome. Yes, and when you're ready to do that, I will link you to the thread of the community that has a lot to say about the blood and the blood trails and how long can they track that stuff. But we will get to that. Hi, Rev. Do you know Revatron or Rev? I don't know his name in real life. He is always extremely up on what's going on. He has great posts out there in the forum. So his question to you is, David, can you clear up what you mean by weapon ballistics and what approach you're taking compared to S1, S2? You've discussed this in the past, but an update would be cool.
Yeah. Wow. Well, okay.
He's always going for the jugular, Rev. He's always like, I'm ahead of you. Where are you going?
Okay, well, your primary expression in a game like this, player expression, is, of course, it's your character first, marginally, but a close second is any sort of firearm or explosive, and that's where ballistics come in, and that's why it was such a priority for me to get that implemented. So, the question was, how is it like the original games, and how is it different, essentially? I think. Well, can you sum up the question again? Because I can tell you, and this is the exciting thing, the ballistics model is probably, it's 100% done in terms of all of the features are in, except, reticle dilation when you turn in one spot. And then there are a couple of bugs. So I'd say it's about 90% done, but it's at the stage where I can do basic weapon tuning. And I can tell you, I can precisely recreate the feel of every single weapon in the Socom games that you guys know. So, the issue is, and like I said before, just recreating that core gameplay and that feel is enough for one project, and we're trying to do it for one whole game, right? Not just a proof of concept. And we're
Right.
doing it for like 12 or 14 weapons in a proof of concept, which is insane, but a worthy goal. So that's job one, right? Test that ballistics model, make sure my memory was sufficient to recreate all of the parameters that are tunable to simulate ballistics like we did in the early Socom games, and we're there. I'm actually confident, and I don't ever say that. So I'm confident that we've achieved that. Um, the issue is, do you guys really want the weapons to feel exactly like they did 10 years ago? Because we can do that, and I'm happy to do that. That's enough. But we're going to leak some modification, like alternate versions of weapons for, your feedback, and you can debate that, as much as you want, like the original AK versus, my take on the AK today. So there's room for adjustment, but we have to be very careful because, the clear majority has to rule in this case, because if, you start monkeying with the classic weapon parameters or weapon build-outs, then, there could be hell to pay later. So, we're safe if we just recreate the classic versions, but there's plenty of room to make modifications if that's what people want.
Okay, and someone asked me a question. Is it acceptable? I'm not going to call out your name because you guys, that was 10 minutes ago, but someone wants to know if they can teabag me in a game, if that is acceptable. All I have to say to you is you would have to kill me first, and that might be a little harder than you think if you haven't played with me in a shooter game. So good luck with that. But
that's protocol, right?
It is.
Kill first, teabag later.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course. Are you kidding? That's that's like, actually, yes, and it's encouraged.
Exactly. So. Or I had to give them I had to teach them a thing or two this week because it's not teabagging to me, guys. I am a woman. I taco stamp your face. So there's a big difference there. I can hear Connor going, oh, good. Really? Oh, well,
never heard that. Wow.
You got to play with more women, I tell you. It's competitive out there. I take my shooters seriously, too. Which is another question. I apologize that I lost your name already. The chat's going pretty fast. But the question was, with those taunts. Someone had a question of, are there still going to be the taunts that are there? And right now I think they're in heated discussions on the forums about the death cam and how that's all going to work. And those things haven't been decided upon. Again, with the proof of concept, a lot of the questions that I'm seeing coming through here of, ladders and team ranks, those are things that are going to be happening down the road that we're going to have a lot of discussions on. But they do want to really know about these team ranks. Is there anything you can do to shed some light on that for them today?
Yeah, we're going to totally do those.
Yes, there you go. All those questions.
Yeah, I'm
yes.
sorry. I mean, right now my focus is I have to get this proof of concept done, exactly. And community tools and the ranking stuff. We're totally going to do it, but right now I cannot worry about it too much because it will distract me from making this part of the game.
Exactly. So that's why I wanted to express that to them. I see those questions. It's just we're not there yet. But we will do this again, and we will attack all these questions one at a time. Let's see. Put your questions up again, because y'all just went bananas. Will there be Admiral top 10 list on the leaderboards? Guys, you guys, slow down. Wait.
So specific.
It's
awesome. So early.
It's so awesome. They're just like...
Patrick, are we doing that? Patrick, Admiral top 10 list?
I'm going to have to say no.
Patrick says no.
Patrick says ask him tomorrow after a cup of coffee. How detailed, this is ITK. Hi, ITK. How detailed will player customization loadouts be, or will there be classes? Do you have any intel on that?
Yeah, there's really no classes intended in the design.
Are
No.
you, are you guys
Uh,
are you guys going to travel to Siberia?
are
Is
we going
that
to
a
travel to
question?
Siberia?
Yeah.
Wait,
Are you
is
guys
that a
going to
question?
Siberia?
I don't think so.
That's
Um, I lived in Canada for like 4 years, and I'm
same thing.
totally done with.
Siberia and Canada, I think, is the same country. I'm pretty sure.
Just touch. It's like it's all rocks and snow.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Just the
guessing. I'm
green
directionally
crust.
challenged. That's a known fact.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hi, P.
Tough.
Feels. It's nice to see all you guys in here. Whoa, slow down. Sass Reaver says, David, how are you going to go about balancing weapons like perhaps LMG carry more ammo but higher rate of fire? Some have limited range but powerful at short, medium. Yeah, the whole gun, your tweet really, you did it to yourself, David, by tweeting that. They are just on fire about these weapons and the balancing of them. Can you talk to them a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean it's really the same approach we took with the early games. Shotguns, not so great at range, but they're a lot of fun up close, and moderately accurate over distance assault rifles, augmented by moderately powerful scopes. Great for most of the map, but if you want to shoot someone all the way across the map, you're going to need a sniper rifle and full magnification. It's really common sense for the most part. There's a classic approach, which is very safe, as I was alluding to before, but if people want to, radicalize it, I'll tune weapons all day and all night for months on end. I've done it before, I'll do it again. We can run it as an experiment, that's for sure. It's easy once you feel like you're safe and you've got something you could ship if you had to. Doing these kind of thought experiments with, crazy weapon configurations or tune parameters, it's really easy, especially with a system that Kevin built out for me. It was way faster and easier than it was on Socom. Balance is not, it's something that's hard to get perfect, but it's not hard to get within striking distance of perfect pretty quickly. So I'm open, but, we don't have infinite time to do that kind of stuff. I don't know if I answered that question or not.
I don't either, because I'm just laughing at whoever's behind you. Now they have blood on their screen. They're just, I think that's,
Yeah.
it's cute how they're keeping up with the topic of conversation here today.
It's very meta.
Kill cams. We were having a big discussion about that too, and the difference. Do you have any? They have talked a lot about that. I'm pretty sure I saw you pop into the forums and talk to them about that as well.
Yeah.
How do you feel about them? What are you kind of?
Well, I call it a death cam when you get that sort of out-of-body lingering experience, like your spirit's still tethered to your corpse. That's when you appreciate, wow, I totally screwed that up. And, now I'm getting teabagged and, the entire opposing team is line dancing on my body. I love that because it's really motivational. It's a teaching tool, actually, and it's a shaming tool, right? I love that. What I don't like, and I'm rarely this candid because, some of my designer friends have designed this kind of mechanic, is the contemporary death cam, which shows you, the jacktard that just shot you from wherever. And, like I said in the forum post, that guy doesn't care about you. He shot you. He's off doing new business. You've written all this code that lets you play back video of him shooting you 15 seconds ago. What's instructive or fun about that? Our analytics sergeant stuff is going to tell you how you screwed up and how you succeeded and, how well you performed and who killed you with what and when. And, you can reconstruct all that stuff after the fact, and believe me, it's a lot more entertaining as a pie chart than it is as a death cam. I mean, you've got to appreciate the comedy. That's a recurrent theme in Socom, and it's going to be an H-hour too. Particular, well, multiplayer. Single player is a little more serious. But that's a whole other, Skype session.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
You
but
just created 20 threads for me to deal with tomorrow.
Sorry.
Just kidding.
Sorry about that.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, so, the humor factor says that's the kind of death cam we want to do. We don't want to create all this overhead to support something that I don't believe really brings a whole lot of value. I know people will dispute that and make good counter arguments, but my personal opinion is, go with something simple and, that has good shame factor and a good instructive factor.
I'm all about the shame factor. Mm-hmm. I have, see what you people make me do? I got 2 phones. You're texting me, tweeting. It's ridiculous. Let's go. Suck My Turban. Okay,
hey,
best name ever. Suck My Turban. Like, hello. Suck My Turban, will we be able to save several custom loadouts so that we don't have to go into our armory every time?
Yeah, that's in the design.
Suck My Turban, that's affirmative. Do I have to text it back to you? Or you can...
No, it's in the design, but who knows what catastrophes await the best intentions. But yeah, it's totally intended.
Okay, now we have another one. Complex gameplay with objectives. Example, button combo required to defuse a bomb. Are you going to have any of those?
There is, in the design for the full game, there is a bomb defusal game type. The weird thing is, we talk about authenticity all the time when, we talk about games like this that are supposedly authentic. And we want to feel authentic, but the reality is it's pretty rare for a Special Forces team to go in to defuse bombs. Tom, you can confirm or deny this, but I think, you'd rather get any high-value targets out of the area and then just blow everything up. But sometimes you don't have that option. So sure, I mean, the issue with Socom was, given the time we had, it was like, let's play this animation of this, while we're in the little meter counts down. And the gameplay that came out of that was your team had to watch your back while one guy was defusing the bomb. So, potentially yes, but, it's not really a game about inputting complex key codes. And in real life, second only to a commute, having to remember passwords with, punctuation marks and upper and lower case ASCII stuff, it's not high on my list of fun. So, and it's not, bombs aren't that weird usually made by terrorists, so you don't get this abstract, really cool sort of like Splinter Cell, I'm decoding kind of, high espionage bomb interfaces. It's like, well, identify the red wire and cut it and get the heck out. I don't know, man. I really don't know. You're asking me about these specific, super minute details about, I think
they're so passionate. They're like, I learned really quick. Do not put anything in those forums unless you've read it twice, because they'll be like, oh, no, Pink, you're wrong. No. I'll teach. I'll preach, you teach. No problem about that. They're amazing. They're just all over this stuff, and it's very, very important to them, and that's completely understandable. A lot of these questions are same thing about what are the next steps. So after the demo,
proof of concept.
Proof of concept. Excellent word choice there. So after the proof of concept, what are your plans? How do you dig in from that point forward?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
started about that question, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, we, we're going to sell it if we haven't sold it by that point. That was the mission. It's still the goal, and we are probably going to succeed. I think we have a pretty good shot. The more passionate the community is, the larger the following, the easier it becomes to, to say to investors or publishers, look, there's a huge demand for this. We know how to do it smart and without spending, $1 billion. And a lot of people are going to be really happy and they're going to bring their friends to play. So that's our next step, after the proof of concept. In a month, I'll probably start working on the short PowerPoint presentation pitch. Tom and I are going to be traveling to
Siberia.
Siberia, right, where all the big game publishers are.
Yes.
So we're going to be taking it on the road, but hopefully by that point, we will have some early first looks from some of our publisher friends, which is going to make it even easier. So yeah, that's next steps. We go from, hey, we're making a game to, hey, we're selling a game, and then we'll sell it, and then we'll come back and we'll make a game.
Excellent. We're going to do one more question here. And we haven't really touched upon the communication. So again, that's a hot topic for them, which is Mark asks, communication question. David, will you bring back text chatting in briefing rooms? Whoa, stop typing. I lost his question.
No, I like this guy because he types. That's awesome. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Text chat, voice chat. And a sort of inspired by David Brenn's Uplift War series, glyphs and emotes that might be a little bit different from what people expect, but you'll get all those things.
Fantastic.
Yes. Huge fan of text.
All right, so I think we're just going to wrap this up, and I can't thank you enough for spending the time with us. I know that you all were so excited, like, oh, gameplay footage, which is why it was important that we...
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Sorry.
I'm stealing that answer. Everything's going to be 2 weeks. But it was important for us to sort of touch base with the community again, now that things have settled down a bit, and go over some of these things. So I hope you all have a better understanding of where we're at and where everything's going and headed. But again, I'm always in those forums, and Rosie, we have an amazing mod team, Rosie and No Fear and Wit, and God, we have a new one now. Oh God, Animal. Hi, Animal. I know Animal couldn't make it tonight, but so we're working on getting some more mods in there too. Hi! You're getting trolled. Photobombed by Connor.
All day.
But we'll do this again. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll do this again. But I appreciate you taking the time, and the community. You guys are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Other than that, peace out.
That's why we're doing it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys in the forums, and chicken grease, people.
All right. Bye.